So the universe is dynamic, and we can't tell the size of the universe because it's ever expanding. And if we did go out and try to figure out the size of the universe, we would never be done, because by the time we took to go out and discover the size and figure out the size of the universe would have expanded a little more. So science likes to appear to be really objective, but it has only observed a tiny fraction of the entire universe. So why I bring this point up is because of the first topic I'd like to discuss in this video, and it is about an absolute truth. Now, science can and has physically determined the working of the physical manifest universe pretty well, to quite a large degree. But then it is still not immune to the mysteries that unfold while trying to determine how things work in the physical manifest reality at a quantum level. So my second point here is that if you look at us humans and where we fit into all of this, we see that no two people are the same. So we have individual differences between people. And that gives room to something called as subjective reality or subjective experiences. So what happens to the objective truth when, say, somebody has an experience of a subjective experience and shares that experience with many other people who have similar subjective experiences that does not fall under the spectrum of the objective reality that we have been taught to believe for so long? Now, religion and science have for a long time taught us to perceive the world in a particular way, and that is what we would call as an objective reality. Now, what happens to that objective reality when somebody or a lot of people start having experiences which are not a part of that objective reality? Now, either we can assume that half the population of these people are clinically insane, or we can assume or look at the idea that we haven't figured it all out yet. So this leads me to my first question, the question that I wanted to address in this video, and that is, what is my stance on the absolute truth? My answer is I don't have a stance on an absolute truth. And the reason why I say that is because we know too little of the universe to be sure of an absolute truth. So you can go ahead and ask me, why do I believe in the things that I believe in? Why do I function in a particular, why do I live this way? Why do I look this way? Why do I project myself in this way? And the reason why I would do that is because it aligns with my truth. Now, my truth is a subjective truth. And the reason why it's a subjective truth is because it exists as a truth because of my experiences. And as you notice, I use the term experience. So the point that I'm bringing out is that your truth and the things that you choose to believe and should choose to believe are things that you've experienced. Now, a lot of people are close to experiencing things, therefore they don't know what they've missed out on. So say that I want to bring in a couple of things here. And the first thing is that you must be open to an experience for you to experience it, and you must also be listening to your intuition. Now, your intuition is that little voice from inside, and that elicits a couple of feelings inside of you that makes you either feel good about doing something or makes you feel bad about doing something. Sometimes you listen to it, sometimes you don't listen to it. So somebody asked me a question saying that, how do I listen to my intuition and know what it's saying when I'm really scared all the time about a particular experience? The best way to understand what your intuition is trying to tell you is about the way it makes you feel. So what you should do is think about the experience and then sit quietly for a while and see what that makes you feel like. If it makes you feel really cramped inside and really, really like it's infringing in your space and you're feeling really, stuck when you think about the experience, then that's your intuition saying clearly that it's a no, don't do that experience. But on the other hand, if it makes you feel really expansive, excited, even if you're feeling scared, then that's your intuition saying go ahead and do it, okay? Have the experience. Now, a lot of people don't open up to experiences because of the fear of the unknown. Now, what happens is that when you close yourself to an experience like that because of the fear of the unknown, then you're never going to go ahead and find out what happens if you did go ahead and do the experience. Sometimes people need to do some shadow work from going ahead and experiencing something because their shadow selves are really holding them down from going and experiencing something. And sometimes people just need to stop making excuses and go and listen to their intuition and have an experience. Now, I hear a lot of people telling me that, I really want to meditate, I really want to quit smoking, I really want to quit eating meat, but you see, I tried and, it really didn't work out for me, so I don't think I can, and that's all excuses. The reason why that's happening is because it's your mind that is making the decision to do it, and it's your mind that's later on telling you that it was just kidding. So, an example of this would be, the mind told you to quit smoking, and then when your ego couldn't handle the fact that it was failing and not sustaining itself, then your mind said, "What? I was just kidding. Did you think that you could really stop smoking?" Yeah. But when you truly feel like stopping something or starting something, and it comes from your heart, and it truly feels intuitively right, then you will know that all your ego and all that the mind is doing is keeping you from experiencing things. It's keeping you from your highest good. And the ego is just sort of like a defense mechanism from going ahead and getting hurt. But the ego is also something that's keeping you really, it's keeping you from breaking free and experiencing things. So the last thing I wanted to address in this video was meditation, and this is not how I meditate or why people meditate or anything, but this is because of something that we were discussing yesterday, and that is about what meditation really is. Now, I'd like to start by establishing that meditation is not an act where somebody sits down, closes eyes, and begins to focus on his breath or on a mantra and quieten the mind, and that is meditation at a face value, but there is something that goes beyond just that, and even though it's really important to do those things, there are steps to doing it, but the meditative act at face value is just calming your mind down from the beta level of brainwave level, which is extremely chaotic, where thoughts are coming to you from all directions, and go down towards the theta level, where either you're focused on one thing and all other thoughts dissipate, or there is just a few thoughts left there. Now, anything that you do repetitively, as in a pattern, begins to slow down your brainwave activity and you begin to reach the theta state, and that is the meditative state. So even if you're jogging and you're jogging in a pattern and you're rhythmically doing something, you will reach the meditative state. Now, this is meditative state at a face value. So a lot of people ask me why people meditate. Well, people meditate for different reasons. Some people meditate because they set an intention. That intention could be because they want an answer, so they meditate on a question so they can get an answer. Some people do that to really stop the clutter in their mind and just to concentrate and relax and really just let go of the world. Some people do that to manifest things and to visualize things into their physical manifested reality. Some people do it because they want to experience oneness with God or Source, which is something we shall talk about in another video. Some people do it to induce states, altered states of consciousness, and then shoot out of their body in the astral plane, or help them with lucid dreaming, that is having control over their dreams and realizing that they're dreaming. So what happens is that when you're meditating, there is, half of these experiences are done purely because, some people have intentions to do it, but then it goes way beyond all of that. Meditation is important because it sort of opens you up to the actual, opens you up to different opens different doors for you to explore, for you to understand the universe a little more. And that's why I began this video by trying to say that there is other ways of understanding and trying to perceive the universe, and we have not yet come to an objective truth about it. So meditation would be then not at face value, but in a greater sense, be done for being connected to source, being connected to other beings, being connected, and understanding that we're all vibrational masses of energy. And we shall actually discuss all of this in another video, because meditation is a completely different topic, wherein I can, there's a lot that I can talk about, or that can be spoken about on meditation. So in a future video, we will discuss meditation in a little more detail. We'll talk about binaurals, lucid dreaming, astral projection, sleep paralysis, because they're really different topics altogether. We'll also be talking about the veil between dimensions getting thinner, so please stay tuned for that. I'm going to wind up this video here, and I just really wanted to tell you guys and talk about objective and absolute truth, because a lot of people, especially religious people, seem to have it all figured out about the entire universe and seem to really clog people's minds and bring them down to a level that they cannot perceive anything beyond that box that they've been contained in. So I thought I'd go ahead and talk about this as a spiritual person, and maybe the more and more we study and get in tune with the universe and try to figure it out from within ourselves and try to understand the universe, maybe the more we'll be able to figure out where we fit in the puzzle, and what love is, and what truth is, and what light is, and maybe we'll be able to perceive reality in a different way, in a different way than what we've been trained to perceive so far. So I send you my love and light, and I hope to see you again. Of course, I will be doing the RBE video, the resource-based economy video. I'll be doing it, but I'm still trying to plan out exactly how to go about and get this. It's going to be a series, so I'm going to be doing that, but we shall see in time. So thanks for watching, and bye, good night, good morning, good day, whenever you're watching this video. I love you, and bye.